What's up everyone, Darcblade back with my next episode in my series of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer class guides. Today we are going to be talking about another personal favourite of mine, the Human Vanguard. A great class, as long as you know your limitations with this class, put it that way, as it is a very aggressive and powerful class, but you have to know when to hold back with this class to be good with it. Now, for me, there's only personally one way to spec the Human Vanguard, with a few alterations here and there. Obviously, you have to max out your Biotic Charge, especially that it refills your barrier after you've used it. So this enables you to combine it with Nova for maximum effectiveness. Shockwave, to be honest, you could do without Shockwave. I've only taken it here to show you, and to show you that it is good at staggering enemies sometimes. Like I said, Nova, it coincides and operates smoothly with Biotic Charge. The two of them together makes the Human Vanguard a very powerful class. Of course, Alliance training and fitness is up to you again. I personally go for maximum health and shields with the Human Vanguard, especially as you put yourself at risk when using Nova. As for weapons, you can either use a lightweight pistol, or me personally, I use the lightest shotgun I can, which I think is the Disciple. Now, with all Biotic classes, you don't want to weigh yourself down too much with weapons, as it makes your cooldowns for your abilities too long. And with the Human Vanguard, the combination of Biotic Charge and Nova leaves you open, so you need that cooldown to come off quickly so you can use Biotic Charge again, which will thus fill up your barrier and give you either another Nova or a chance to survive. I should add that Biotic Charge as well leaves you invulnerable whilst you do it, although coming out of it obviously leaves you open to gunfire and melee attacks again. But during that time you are charging from one place to the other, you are invincible and nothing can actually take you down. This is why it's a great combination with the Nova ability. I must say, with the spec I'm using here, I spec the Biotic Charge for damage, but in retrospect, I would have probably spec'd it to a AoE multiple hit charge, especially on gold mode. Something the Vanguard has going for it is very good at staggering enemies, basically interrupting them and stopping their attack they are doing at the moment. Now on gold mode, this is a key ability to being a successful Vanguard, because I find that on gold mode it is a lot harder to go charging into the fray. On gold mode it's probably more beneficial to have a Vanguard protecting your flanks and attacking enemies not head on, but laying ambushes and hitting people at the right time rather than just charging into the middle of the enemy. Now, I've talked a tiny bit about the Biotic Charge and Nova combination, but the third move the Human Vanguard has is Shockwave. I've explained a bit about Shockwave in the Human Adept video, but for the Human Vanguard, for me, it personally feels a lesser ability compared to Nova and Biotic Charge. It does have its uses still. It can stagger enemies, and it can also be used to trigger your teammates' biotic explosions and tech combos. But on its own, it is a little bit of a lackluster talent for the Human Vanguard. To be honest, sometimes it's probably better not to even spec in it, especially if you find yourself not using Shockwave that much. At the moment, I'm spec'ing to it because I would like to show you it, and on the other hand, I do occasionally use it in gold mode to stagger enemies when it's too dangerous to charge into them, and after they've been staggered by the Shockwave, finishing them off with gunfire from yourself or your teammates. Now, going back to the key abilities that the Human Vanguard has, the basic Biotic Charge Nova combination. This is key to a successful Vanguard, put it that way. In the lower levels, it can completely dominate, but in the higher levels, gold mode, you have to be cautious with it. Biotic Charge, like I said, needs a quick cooldown to be able to use it again and replenish your shields. It can also be good at staggering enemies, like I mentioned before, knocking them back and doing high damage. Nova is a risky move, you have to use it at the right times. You have to judge how many enemies there are if you're going to get hit after you use Nova, because Nova, once you use it, you punch the floor and it takes away your barrier completely, as the barrier itself is turned into damaging biotic waves. What I find best is to Biotic Charge. If there's enough enemies staggered, follow it up with a shotgun blast, then Nova, and by that time the cooldown on your Biotic Charge should be off, and you can use that again to replenish your barrier and repeat the whole process over again until everyone around you is dead. Now, the Human Vanguard is a very aggressive class, but you also need to know when to hold back and when to rely on your team instead of just charging off and risking yourself as well as your team's success on the mission. Also, be a bit considerate of your teammates as well. Biotic charging a target they're shooting at and clearly going to get the kill is not good etiquette in the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and I've known a lot of players get annoyed with Vanguards for doing just this. But that being said, the Human Vanguard is a great class that can rescue teammates in rough situations, so you've got to balance it. It balances out in the end. At least I find it does. Now, summarising, the Human Vanguard is a great strong class if played right, if played with a little bit of cautious and not going overzealot on enemies. Mastering the Biotic Charge and Nova combo is key to success with a Human Vanguard. Biotic Charge someone, judge how well the enemies around have been staggered, follow up with a shotgun blast and Nova. Rinse and repeat. Watch your cooldowns, don't overweigh yourself, as this could result in too long a cooldown to be successful. In harder modes, play it cautious, protect your team's flanks rather than running headlong into the middle of the battle, as this can normally result in you getting killed, as enemies are so much stronger in gold mode than they are in bronze and silver. But in bronze and silver you can pretty much dominate as long as you know your character's limits. Shockwave, not too useful, but it does have some uses out there. Anyway, the Human Vanguard, a great fast-paced character, hard-hitting, but know your limitations and attack when it's best to strike. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Darcblade. Subscribe and like for more.